What's going on, advocates? Welcome back to another edition, special edition. I can't even say another edition, special edition of the Black Mental Health Podcast. If you're listening, go to the YouTube really fast because I got my wife in the building and we're going to be talking about marriage and mental health and finances and all the above, emotions that's connected to the finances, and why not bring back in one of the financial gurus that I know that's doing work within the space. She was here earlier episodes, and you can all go back and listen to that episode, but please introduce yourself to the people and tell them why you're here.
Oh, I'm here because you asked me to be here. Hello, everyone. I am Rachael Hanible. I'm a certified financial educator, and I am the founder of Missing Peace Financial Group, where for almost 9 years now, I've been helping my people on the road to financial freedom, holding classes and one-on-one sessions from age 3 all the way up to 100, teaching about everything you need to know as far as personal finance, just preparing my people for the generational wealth that they have been praying and asking God for and hoping for, and just the true freedom that we've been hoping for. And a lot of that is going to come from being financially free. And so that is who I am and what I do.
Yes, and Rachel was here on April. Episode 76. Y'all can see where I'm all the way back to. It probably was April, but it was on episode 76. And so go back to that if you want to hear her journey into financial. She did saved a lot of money that I'm still hoping to get to in a short amount of time. So please go back and listen to it so you can kind of get caught up to this conversation. And did you want to say anything to the people, wife, while we got you here?
Child, I'm just trying to get these deets because Lord knows me and money. We got a straining relationship.
So the reason why this conversation came about is as soon as the episode that me and Rachel did earlier this year was over, I'm like, man, one of the things I was hoping that I can, she booked and busy, overbooked and busy. One of the things I'm hoping to get her back for is talking about finances in regards to marriage and relationship. And we briefly talked about it, but I wanted to go more in depth to that. And I don't like speaking by myself when it comes to certain things about my marriage and things like that. I'm like, it got to be the person here, because you can talk tough when you're by yourself and you can say whatever one perspective, but you got to have the partner that you with in the same conversation. And I wanted to bring Rachel in because it's our 1 year anniversary coming up. So by the time you hear this, it's previously recorded, but by the time you hear this, it will come out on our 1 year anniversary and 1 year marriage anniversary. So we've been together for 10, but we were married for 1. And I know I didn't together get engaged for this whole time. Like, it was a lot of things, pandemic, babies. It was a lot of things that delayed us. Life is lifing and that delayed us getting married. So now we're celebrating our 1 year anniversary, and I'll toss it over to Rachel because you probably have way more experience in dealing with couples and finances and things like that. One of the major causes of divorces is financial. And so from your experience and working with clients and couples, what's the major barriers? What's the commonalities? What's the things you hear? What's the things you notice, and what you want to impart on couples that are in this journey of marriage?
Yes, I love having couples. I just had a new couple sign up yesterday, and I just love being able to walk them through. At this point, I've walked couples through everything, a lot of like in vitro IVF, having babies, and buying houses, and just all types of stuff at this point.
Wow.
And so I love couples, and happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary. So I was excited when you came up with this idea to do this. The things I've seen most is our language. Like, we're just speaking 2 different languages when we're talking about our relationship with money. And if you've heard anything I've said before, or even the previous episode I've been on, you know that our studies show that our habits with money, or our relationship with money, is formed by the age of 7. And so now you meet someone later on in life, and so you have this relationship with money, and this person has their relationship with money, and it's like we are literally speaking 2 different languages, right? We talk about love versus survival, right? When we're trying to merge two worlds together. I think the main thing is, and this is even why I call my company Missing Peace. You know, the goal for me is always peace, and refocusing the couple on peace. How do we get to peace. Maybe spending a little bit extra on her nails or on her feet is getting her closer to peace. It's helping her get to that 100% where she can now come back refilled, refreshed. That's peaceful. It's worth it because it's a price to peace. And so that's probably the biggest thing I've seen in just viewing our relationship with money differently and viewing the other person's pain points. Right. I think often we focus on like what's painful for me, right? What's triggering for me and what I know and what's comfortable for me. But you need to be able to do both, right? You need to be able to grow closer to peace together as you do it individually and as you do it together. And so that has been my main focus when it comes to couples specifically.
Yeah, because I've noticed that as far as our finances go, even as newlyweds, like we kind of keep everything separate. So we're together when it comes to our livelihood, of course, our rent, our electric, those type of things, utilities and all of that. But when it comes to just like our lives outside of the life that we share, it's like you got your money, I got my money, you know? And I'm like, is that necessarily healthy when we're trying to move forward? We want to go into the home buying process. Like there's a lot of things that we want to do together, but yet our money is kind of like, you know, by itself.
I don't like it because if you're going to be together, you should be together. Right. If you are, I often say, and people say that's harsh, but when you marry somebody, you're signing up to bury that person. You know, if you say death do us part, how else do you think
you mean? Right.
This is about to end? So if this person, if you are signing up to bury this person, that is a different way that you need to be viewing how we are merging everything. I'm going to carry this person's legacy beyond the grave. I'm going to, that is my, you know what I mean? And so when you think of it in that, we need to start getting our money together. I need to start at least trusting you with my money now on this level, because at some point I'm going to have to trust you with my healthcare. At some point I'm going to have to trust you with my last wishes and my legacy. And so you like, okay, well, the money is just that's a stepping stone to get to all of those. And often what happens is when we talk about trust, people struggle to trust other people in certain areas because they struggle to trust themselves in other areas, in certain areas. And so again, depending on your relationship or history with money, maybe you kind of struggle with trusting yourself there, and you struggle with letting that person have that moment or have that access to you, but you are giving them that access to you, right?
You married them.
So, yeah, right. So I think we should have it together. Couples to definitely have a joint bill account. Anything that has a monthly due date should be all in a joint bill account. And then, each person decides how much they have to put in to make sure all of the monthly bills are covered. And then you can have your own separate fund accounts, right? That you can do whatever you want to do outside of that, and then have joint savings. And maybe if you have a goal, again, for a home or for different things, right? All it needs to be together in a savings account, because you don't need to have your savings in your checking account, because that's why they got two different names.
Well, all right. So it's a 2 question. You could take them both for separate. The term that's coming up is financial PTSD, and you're going off of different things and different experiences that happened in the past. And it's kind of like preventing, sort of what you just said, it's kind of preventing of how you're showing up today. That's one question, and how to deal with that. The other separate question is, and it's kind of related, but the social media commentary around relationships, finances, who should pay for what should happen, how to go, et cetera, et cetera. You can separate them or combine them or however you want to attack them. But those 2 things, the financial PTSD and then the social media commentary around financial responsibility within relationships.
Yeah, the financial PTSD is something that, and my personal story, I always say I used to struggle with poverty PTSD, and for a while I was in a committed relationship headed towards marriage with someone who was like the opposite, right? Like he had, like his parents were hooked up, and he just had it just all together. So he had a plan A, B, C, D, like all of that, and it had, for me, I was like, well, it's just me. Right. Like if I cannot pay my bills, if something happens to me, like I literally don't have a person where I can say, hey, can you pay this bill for me, or until that changed how I approached our goals together, because I'm thinking like I'm going like I have to create my own plan A, B, C, or D. Whereas for him, it was like, oh, it wasn't that serious. Oh, my dad's got it. My mom's got it, right? And so that created like a lot of issues, because for me, certain things were like do or die. Like literally, it was like, I gotta make it. I have to make sure I'm okay for a long period of time. Literally have to bet on myself. That's all I had. But for him, it was like, it's not that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not that big of a deal. So you really have to, again, I had to deal with my poverty PTSD, because I needed to get to the point where I realized like, you're not poor anymore. And view that and say like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. No matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. I can let go of some of this anxiety, which shifted the conversations I would have with him, because there's less frustration there, right? Urgency, I should say, there, right? And then for him, helping him to understand the life that I came from, because he couldn't fathom that. Like he couldn't fathom that all of his friends were basically living the same way he was living growing up. And so it's like, he couldn't really fathom why it was such, a big deal for me to have certain amounts saved or do certain things the correct way. And so it's really important to, again, meet in the middle. It's really important to get in the middle, because if used correctly, those strengths and weaknesses can actually come together and create a really good foundation for your children moving forward. Because you're going to have a spender, you're going to have a saver, often, right? The combination is good, because he also taught me to enjoy life. It is okay. You're going to get it. You're going to be okay. But then I also taught him like, hey, don't take those plan B, C, and D and all those things for granted, because everyone is not like you. You have to be a little bit more softer in that way that you approach that. So that was really important for me to experience. And even it helped me when I, coach couples. And then the second part of that is I always get tagged and forwarded these videos of these arguments of who should pay for what, and all of the long lists. And people who know that I'm not married, they assume I have like this long list of all the money this guy has to have in order to marry me and all this stuff. So I see it all the time, like every day at this point. And I always chuckle, because my response is the same, that like everyone has their own path. Like you can't really get married to a season. If I meet a gentleman and he's like on top of the world today, I'm still signed up to marry him if I marry him. So that at some point he is not going to be on top of the world, exactly. Right? Yeah. At some point, if we talk about rich or poor, you know what I mean? You got to prepare for poor might really be a thing. It might really be a thing. And so I think what happens is that we have this checklist of who should do what, and we have these ideas of how it should be. And then life hits us, lifing, right? What you say, honey? Right? Life. And so you don't know how to deal with that when life really lives, because you're like, this is what it's supposed to be like. I watched these videos, I read this book, it's supposed to be like this. And when it's not like that, that's when divorce happens. That's when, infidelity happens. A lot of things happen, and you got to get rid of those boxes that we create for ourselves, that we create for our spouses. Like, it's just not fair to create these boxes. The goal should be peace. The goal should be comfort. The goal should be legacy. The goal should be wealth, generational wealth. Now, we may start here, and there are going to be some moments where I'm higher than you are, and I'm going to do my part, and then you're going to be higher than I am, and we're going to have to both be able to put our egos aside in those moments, right? Not be like mine, and look for the bigger goal. It doesn't matter where we are every day going to make steps to the bigger goal, and that is what counts. And I'll add a little asterisk here. More important than how much a person is making when you meet them, you need to pay attention to their self-worth. Because I've met people where they had a lot, but their mind, they couldn't fathom that they were really worthy of abundance, of a lot. So they would find a way to sabotage it. Like, he was doing really good. Like, what happened to that business deal? What happened to that thing, that, or whatever, right? You're sabotaging because your heart, your spirit, your mind doesn't believe it really belongs to you, right? So eventually you're going to have nothing. But then I've met people who are poor, broke, right? Who come from where I come from, who are like, I know there's more. I know there's more. I know I'm worthy of more. I know I'm going to get it. And then those people rise. That's what you need to pay attention to. Does this person that I'm going to be connected with and build a family with believe that worthy is for them, that they believe they are worthy of more, that abundance and freedom and peace is really for them? That's the person you want to choose to be your forever with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I definitely agree, because I feel like before, when it came to finances, it was like, all right, well, if you're getting this amount, then I got to be close to getting that amount. And it was so like just draining, because I would work odd hours. I'm going into work 3 to 11. We got a 2-year-old son. Like, it just was exhausting. Now I have finally come to that peace status where it's like, you know what, babe, you make significantly more than me. I am not in a competition with you. I can go back to school. I can raise our children better. I can be more active in their lives. Like, it is absolutely fine. So I definitely agree, where like just finding that inner peace within yourself, so that way you can go and do what it is that you need to do. Because that competition ain't it. Like, I was drained.
That actually leads into my next question. And in regards to finances and I'm trying to phrase it. Whereas I'm an entrepreneur, she works her job, which is fine in every capacity as possible. But that also causes financial strain, because my checks is not coming every 2 weeks. And my checks may come once a month, but when they come, it's big. Or it creates a different type of strategy around tax time, because I'm not just handing in a W-2. I got to do expenses and things like that. What do you talk to couples that don't have both the job, 9-to-5ers, but they have a mixed financial strategy when in regards to income?
You're right.
Well, again, I mentioned earlier, every step is getting us closer to the goal. So maybe one, I always talk to the one who makes less money and kind of feels some type of way about making less money, or inconsistent money. Sometimes it's not less, it's just inconsistent. And even those in between moments when you're waiting is like really tough, right? And so I say, listen, you still have to do your part to get closer to the goal, right? So maybe you're the person trying to figure out how you can save the household money. In the time of you waiting for you to, increase your income, or you're waiting for this check or this thing, in the meantime, how can you decrease the money going out of your home? Because money is money, right? If you're making an extra $10,000 a year, or if you found a way to save extra $10,000 a year, we're doing well either way, right?
Right.
So I say, listen, what if, and I'm a couponer, some of you already know, right? So I haven't paid a red cent for toothpaste, for toiletries, for laundry detergent, for like, so now I approach a man and I say, like, what would it be worth it to you if you've never had to pay for your deodorant, your toothpaste, your this all year round, right? And if you tell me that's thousands of dollars, that's part of my investment in this relationship that we have, right? Now, maybe I don't actually physically bring that money in the home, but I'm saving you that money. That's real cash going out of, especially now, right? So you want to think of like, still, I'm always a team player, right? And there's different ways to get us to that goal when it talks about our, ultimate financial goal. And all couples should have these ultimate goals. They should have 6-month goals. We should have 1-year goals, but we should have ultimately, what do we want this to look like for our children? What do we want this to look like for our grandchildren? You need to be make sure you're on the same page with those things. When it comes to the mix of an entrepreneur and a 9-to-5, they say, it's really tough to have that, because they don't really understand both sides, the other side. And understanding is a small part of participating. I used to be a person where I used to have, I need to fully understand before I move forward in anything. I need to have full information. Give me everything. I need to be able to dissect this and all of that. And I've learned that even when I don't fully understand, there's still a part I have to play in. We have a plan here.
Right.
We have a plan. I may not fully understand, but you can tell me what you need right now. You can tell me what you need in this moment. You can tell me how I can support you being that entrepreneur. You can tell me how I can support you with your 9 to 5. Maybe I'm going to pack your lunch because I don't have to get up as early, and you can go ahead and get some rest. And that's one less thing I'm gonna save you time in the morning, right? So I think that we put too much emphasis on having fully understanding before we make a move. No. I've signed up to be with you. I'm committed to being with you, to helping you regardless. If it feels good, if it doesn't feel good, if I fully understand, if I don't understand, just out of respect, if you're asking me to do something, I want to serve you, and that's what I'm here to do. And so I think that will help you get through the rough moments. And a lot of couples are probably going to start to experience some rough moments when it comes to the cash flow the next 6 months, the next 8 months, maybe even more, a little bit more than that. And so these are things we need to put in place now, so the muscle is strong by the time we hit those hard moments.
No, and that I'll stay here 1 second, because I've been doing this entrepreneurial thing about 5 years now, so I kind of got a hang of it now, right? But early on, where there's inconsistency, it creates a level of anxiety for the partner that isn't, like, they know their money coming, even if it's not a lot, they know that their money is coming. What do you say to that partner to help them manage those levels of emotions that are coming up as they want to support their partner, but these bills got to be paid? Like, what do you do with couples in those financial situations?
Well, anger and frustration is not going to help us, right? These are the times where we need to really communicate more than anything, right? These are the times where one partner is probably going to have to repeat themselves multiple times, and they're going to have to be patient with the fact that I'm having this blockage here because I know the lights need to stay on, right? So it's hard for me to understand these words you're using, right? Because I'm worried about if we're gonna be able to see, right? Again, brainstorm strategies. Okay, well, let's have a brainstorming session, and I've mentioned this to you. I feel like all couples should have money dates, right? And money dates don't have to cost money, right? But you should get dressed up. You should always get dressed up. It makes the conversation go much smoother. People act better and talk better when they're dressed up. Right? Even if you're at home, and my clients send me pictures of them all dressed up at home. And like, even throughout the pandemic, like, we're having our money date. Brainstorm, okay, how can we, this is where we need to be. These are my frustrations. These are my issues. How can we get to where we need to go? Let's brainstorm. You mentioned in our last show, 5 ways you can decrease the money going out of your home, 5 ways you can increase the money coming in your home, even if it's something temporary. Everyone has gifts and talents that they can use to bridge that gap between where you are and where you want to be. In the meantime, come up with cool catchphrases and funny code words. I do this with all my couple clients, where it's like the conversation about money is sometimes so hard. It's so just difficult. It's really difficult, right? So come up with an inside joke or a catchphrase or something funny that he can say to you. I am struggling right now with our finances, and I need you to go a little softer on me. I need you to go a little easier on me. Or maybe she can say, things are a little bit tighter than we need to be right now as far as my level of comfort, right? My anxiety is creeping a little bit, and I need you to help us in this situation. And it could be anything. And so some of the catchphrases that come up with are hilarious, but I always suggest it's something funny because it breaks the ice, because always that conversation of money is so tense, like it's just so thick, right? So you need something to break that ice. This is where we're going to get to strategizing. This is where I'm going to prove to you that I am a team player, right? Because love starts when the comfort ends. Right? We're cool. We're comfortable. If we cool, we hanging out, learning new stuff. I don't really even know if this person really loved me yet, because nothing ain't happened. Right? So this is the moment where you can allow your partner to love you and prove to you they really, really love you for who you are. And that's kind of what you want, right? You kind of want to go through some struggles with somebody, because that's the only way you're going to really know if they're for you, if they're a real team player. And so those are my suggestions for anyone that may be struggling in that scenario.
Yeah, we've definitely been through our struggles. I can honestly say like now is good. You get what I'm saying? Is I said once we got married, it seemed like everything kind of came together, you know. So I would feel like as far as our finances, again, we still do a lot of things separately, outside of the bills that we share together, but I feel like we have an issue more so with like saving. So he has his separate saving, I have my separate saving, but we have not been saving together. And I'm like, well, how are we going to move forward? Like,
there's a caveat to that though, because I said to her, all right, you got 5%, because I know money fluctuates, whatever. I said, yeah, let's just put an extra $50 up. And she, where am I getting that from? I'm like, together, like you can have your personal savings. Like I don't even want, but together you can just save 2%, 5%, something.
right.
And she like, I already don't want to save nothing on there now. You want to ask me to save up more?
Right. It's like a savings on top of a savings. And it's like, listen, my money not stretching that long, sir.
Have you tried it?
No, I haven't. If I'm being completely honest, I have not.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting because I know usually within the relationship is always. I'm hoping that she hears something from you, because if it comes from me, it's not going to come
I'm
on.
like, get out my face.
Yeah, exactly. But she thoroughly enjoyed the episode me and you did.
I'm going to encourage you to try it. I think that there's a lot of people who underestimate how powerful a determination and a plan, and just betting on yourself can be, and how far it can take you. So if you can't tell me that you can't do it if you haven't
tried it,
then yes, 100% with trying it.
That is so true, because I'm already like, well, I still want to do the things that I want to do, you know, get my nails done, get my toes done. And if I'm incorporating the things that I need for me on top of my personal savings, on top of the bills that we have to pay, like I don't have nothing for this separate account, or so I think, because I just feel like it's just I'm gonna have to sacrifice something else that I don't necessarily want to sacrifice right now.
What is your biggest money argument? Now I'm the interviewer. You know what I mean? What is your biggest money argument?
To be honest, we don't really argue about money. Like we really do our own thing, Rachel. Like it's just like if I fall short in something, it's like, all right, well, you know, if I got it, I'll just pay it. So, but he never makes a big deal. He's not adamant about like, no, you needed to have this money and you don't have it. You know, it's just like a go with the flow, to be honest.
It just shifted. When I mean it just shifted, because I told you about the earlier entrepreneur experience. It just shifted. The biggest one was the inconsistency of the money. And now I kind of got an easy flow on it and started to manage things and knowing weathering the storms and, you know, finding a flow. I think that was the argument of like, there's just not enough to go around. And the expectation here we go. I'm gonna get you. I got you, right? The biggest one was like, all right, we don't have enough to go around. I'm looking at you as the man to figure this out. Like, figure it out. You need to develop. I'm doing all I feel like I can do in this moment. I'm expecting you to go out there and figure out another way to get it done.
Right.
Because it still needs to get done.
That is very true. That's true.
And we got there.
Yes.
We got there.
Yes.
Not gonna go back in the past if we got there.
No, but to that point, that was going into my next question, and I don't want to forget, because you said in the next few months is going to get tight for a lot of couples. So that's one of the next questions I want to get into. But in that same realm, what do you say to couples with the financial swap that happens? We always say when in our relationship there's like shifts where there's ups and downs, and one person is, I don't want to say above, but in a better position than the other at that moment. And so for example, with finances, there can be a woman that, you know, is getting her degree, starts a business, and she outpaces the man financially. And that starts to create a rift within the relationship, because now the dynamics has changed. And vice versa, the same thing can happen with the man, where he, you know, does whatever he does, and it creates a shift in a relationship. And now what we started as is not what we are now, and it creates an insecurity within the relationship. What advice do you give to couples when it comes to that?
Well, A lot of it is the insecurity. Let's dig into the insecurity part first. And then the second part of it is control. So we'll talk about insecurity first. Insecurity comes from you having a definition of manhood or womanhood, and whether it be, whether it came from your mom, your grandma, TV, movies, it's like all of this coming at us, telling us what we need to be and all those things, right? And then you feel like you're not that. That's basically what's happening. You need to get an understanding of with your partner, what their definition of being a man or being a woman is, what they expect for you to do, because you can have your own vision and your own ideas and your own box basically that you're putting yourself in, and you assuming that this person is upset or disappointed because you're not checking off these boxes that you internally created for yourself. Meanwhile, this other person is probably just happy as can be, not even paying attention to, right? You think, oh, I put some weight on, oh, I'm feeling some type of way. These IG models are, winning out here, right? And then he might be like, yeah, she is getting thicker, talking to the guys, like, right? You insecure about something that he's actually perfectly fine with, right? So I know I mentioned this before, communication, but you need to be clear about what are you feeling, right? I think that's another thing. I think that we are so quick to put a label on something. Oh, I'm upset. Are you really upset, or are you disappointed and hurt? And then you're putting your anger. The only way you were taught to verbalize that or to show that is through anger, or through punching a hole in the wall or whatever, storming out and leaving, right? Instead of just saying, I'm a little disappointed first in myself, because I thought that I would be further along than where I am. Like, I've created or the people who have been a part of my life have created what they feel is a roadmap or a checklist for me. And I don't feel like I'm really checking off everything on that list. So internally it's bothering me a little bit, and I'm projecting that on you, because I'm assuming that you're one of those people too who expect me to do these things. And you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. And if I need to just kind of, as I reshape my identity, as I reshape who I am, as I grow, as I heal from that maybe unhealthy checklist, because a lot of people are, trying to run after something that is just really unhealthy, right? So that's the first part. You definitely don't want to have your identity and how much money you make, right? You don't really want that to be the case. And I know for men, that is so hard, because it's like the main thing we talk about when it comes to guys, right? So I know it's so hard, but it's the same way women feel about their appearance, right? That's the main thing everyone talks about when it comes to women, right? So the second part of that is control. A lot of people out here using their money to control somebody, right? So you have a lot of men who specifically find someone who's struggling financially, who needs them, because you feel like now she's going to have to be faithful to me, says Will Smith. You're going to have to be faithful to me, says, I can go throughout the list, right? If I make this amount of money, she's never going to leave me. She's going to need me. And I'm going to purposely get someone who has less, who is struggling, because then I can control that. The word for that is control. People don't use it, but that's really what it is, right? And so you feel some type of way, but that control is when you don't have that. And then the control is on the other side too, right? Because the woman is like, oh, this is mine. I paid for all this in here. Don't be confused about more. Because all my girlfriends know I make more than you. And I'm like, sis, that is unnecessary, right? Why you gotta do all of that? You know what I mean? And so those are the two sides that we really need to focus on. Like, why am I feeling this way? Is there a unrealistic checkbox I'm trying to complete? And am I trying to control this person with my money? And I'm thinking the more money I have, the more I'm able to keep them happy or quiet or whatever,
Yeah.
You said previously, and I wanted to make sure we touch on it before we get the end out, that we got some big expectations coming up this year. again, with the stimulus coming out and all these different things, it was going to be a way that money was going to come back into the ecosystem some type of way. And so talk about what is expected, or what you expect and what you predict. I know the financial forecast. I know some little bit of a word. The financial forecast of the futures and how couples can manage that in not just this year, but just in general, the ups and downs of financial, things that happen within relationship. Like how can what you're seeing and what can couples do to manage it?
Well, you need to prepare yourself for literally everything to be more expensive. I had done a post maybe like a year ago on my finance tips, and I said something that says like everything that you're using today will never be as cheap as it is today. And I made it was like even down to your Q-tips. And I think that because I said that, people took it as like a joke, and literally everything is more expensive, every single thing, including Q-tips, because I just bought some. And so this is where you need to revise the plan. You are going to see, again, the increase of everything, whether it be your housing costs or whether it be your, of course, gas, right? And everything in between, which is going to trickle through everything, the childcare, because everything now everybody has to charge more now because everything costs more now, right? So now it's going to cost more for my hair to get done. It's going to cost more for me to do just our regular everyday stuff. It's just going to cost more. So we need to revise the plan. We need to come back. We need to have our money date, and we need to go back to the drawing board to say, how much extra do we have? How much wiggle room do we have? And is there anything that we need to cut out? Is there anything we need to reconsider? Maybe we thought something 2 years ago was a great idea and we've been paying on it every month. And now it's like, well, it might not be the best bet for us. You need to be okay with divorcing your old plan and coming up with a new one, right? Because you have to be able to adapt. And there's going to be a lot of changes. I mean, literally in every area, things that how you qualify for a mortgage moving forward is going to be different, or just regular loans and credit. All these things are just going to be different. It's just going to be different moving forward. And so prepare to save, to prepare to whatever you thought you were saving, try to give yourself a little bit extra cushion, right? I want you to get your nails done today, baby, but I want you to also get it done for the next 5 years and not have to worry about it. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to think, okay, will a little no today equal to a bigger yes tomorrow? Well, I can wait because, outside is expensive anyway.
Yes.
Right. So maybe I can wait. Maybe I can wait until all this died down. Y'all figure all this out. I'm right here, my little cushion, waiting. I'm ready to get on the flight. But right now, these flights is real iffy, right? So I think being able to come up with a new plan and being forgiving of each other and yourselves, because we also have this thing where we want our partner to save us because our parents didn't teach us, or we want this and that. And it's just the expectations that are just thrown around. We need to just throw them out.
Right.
Start fresh, start new. And you still need to have a plan. You still need to have a goal. Just say, hey, maybe we can use this for a year. This is our year plan. This is what we're going to do right now since things change. And then we can revisit our original plan after we get our foundation really good and solid moving forward.
So I was going to give you a plug for your finance tips that you give out every Friday, but I swear to you, this is how you know she eat, lives, and breathes this. You done hit on like half of these already during this conversation. The best time to prepare for a recession, using coupons, emergency budget, just all of creating a plan before getting married, like all of these different things. Is there anything you want to add that you didn't get to expound on in this or in this conversation? Did you want to expound on anything from there? Because you did a great job of it already.
Okay, good. I was like, I'm glad. I will say that sometimes it's not how you say it, and it's not even what you say. Sometimes it's the timing of the conversation. You have to have tough conversations with and even on my number 6 is saying have that financial plan before you get married. A lot of people do not do that. You'd be surprised how many don't, but that's okay too. You can do it today, but you need to be really honest with yourself about, is this the right time to have this conversation? And I'll end off with an example of why I'm saying that. One of my classes, I had a young lady in there, and she was a kid, and she told me after the class that dad always ruins the fun. And when I asked her what she meant by that, it's because her and mom goes out and they go to the mall or they go get the nail, whatever they do, right? They come back with stuff, and dad's upset because they spent a little bit more money to his liking, and he lets it be known. And I had to pull him aside because he's the one who brought her to my class. And I said, your daughter feels like you ruined the fun because you are not mature enough to take your money conversations to the bedroom. And she's your only daughter. And I know the last thing you want her to feel about you is that you're the person who ruins the fun. Those are her words about you. I didn't ask her a question. I'm a total stranger. She came up to me and felt comfortable with saying that to me, but not saying that to you. And that as a dad, you kind of have to ask yourself how you feel about that. You know what I mean? She's not even 10 yet. You got to ask yourself, how does that make you feel? And if all those arguments and all those moments where you just couldn't contain it, right? That if it was worth it for her now to have this image of you in her mind. And so you need to be mindful of, yes, the tough conversations, yes, being kind to your partner, the environment and the timing and the words you use when you're talking about money just in general. Words are extremely powerful and they're really hard to ever take back, honestly, especially when you talk about kids being around. So that's something I wanted to kind of just cap off at the ending, because ultimately generational wealth is not just how much we leave our babies, but making sure they know what to do with it and they have the information and the education of what to do with it once we leave it to them. And part of that is the money conversations we have around them when they're babies, when they're young.
Right.
Man, speaking of babies, we're gonna go right into it. Talk about the upcoming conference you got for Keys to Success for our babies.
Oh, I'm so excited to have my first annual youth money party. I call them money parties, but it is a finance conference. It is going to be here in Philadelphia, August 13th. It's 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We are going to give our babies some good breakfast, some good lunch, and we're going to have 4 sessions teaching them everything from credit to investing to budgeting to creating your own business. What does that look like? To networking, the power of networking and being able to, give your business pitch in a room full of people and giving them the confidence in that area. And so I'm really excited. You can register your teen, or preteen, 12 to 19 years old at RachelHannible.com. You can go there, or you can check me out on Instagram, peptalks_. There is a link in my bio there as well. There are a few seats left, but if you just want to donate, if you are out of town and don't have a baby in that age range, you can donate and invest in our next generation of millionaires.
Man, I'm pulling up. I told you that I'm bringing my baby out so he can get some knowledge and some information about what you got going on, because I think we talk about generational wealth. I don't think people talk about the building blocks to that and what that looks like, actionable steps. And I feel like you're putting in the actionable steps that we all need and all our babies need, and anything that I could do to support in any capacity, I'm here to support.
Oh, thank you. And you know how we feel about giving our flowers. Reggie, you were one of the first ones to make a donation for this conference. I mean, as soon as I put up the flyer, I got an alert. Reggie, I'm like, he is on it. So thank you so much on behalf of our babies. Thank you so much for investing in them. That means a lot to me.
All right, so as we close out, I got a messy conversation or a messy question.
I like messy. Let me get my tea.
With financial responsibility comes, I'm trying to word this very carefully, especially with her sitting next to me. So say you start to get your ish in order, and now people who haven't done the work to get their stuff in order are kind of dependent on you because you have your stuff in order. And I'll even use a real example. We Once we grow to a certain point, we almost have to parent our parents. And okay, I can actually use a really actual example. For my dad, I had to be financially responsible for him in so many different ways that I didn't want to, especially with him not even putting the effort in for his own life. And so there are elements where you become financially responsible, but you still have loved ones who are still pulling on you, and you feel almost like an obligation because you know what it feels like not to have, and so you feel obligated to give. What do you say to those couples who I don't know when I became the rich aunt and uncle, when me and my wife became the rich aunt and uncle, but people are looking to us for certain things, and it's hard to tell your people that you love no when you see them being neglectful in their own responsibilities. To that, you say what?
That I say, as the rich auntie, apparently. To that I say that you always have a choice. Mm. I don't like, and I heard you say it, I don't like when people say, I have to do. You always have a choice. The whole key to freedom and peace is to have as many options as you want. You always have a choice. And you need to understand the difference between an asset and a liability, even when it comes to the people that we love. Woo. When I encourage you to lower your liabilities and increase your assets, I am not just talking about money. You have to be mindful of what I tell people. You have to be a part of your own rescue, baby. Yes. You got to be a part of your own rescue. Now, if I'm going down the road and I see you pushing your car, I may get out and help you push. But if I just see you sitting there, I'm probably going to keep going because you got to start your own. You got to start your own process. You got to help yourself. Why would I help you if you're not even trying to help yourself? So you do have a choice. It feels like you don't, but you really do. And I tell people, I let people be great. Now, my definition of great for you may be different from your definition of great, but you have the right to decide what great is for you in the life you want to live, because you get to live that. Mm-hmm. I can help you be great, financially free, and I can let you be great if you don't want to be financially free, because you have that right to be that way. And I also have the right to decide what I want to do with the money that I work hard for. And if I choose, because I'm choosing, I'm not obligated. If I choose to help you, this is not going to be an everyday thing, right? This is not going to be an everyday thing. Here's what I'm going to require of you when I help you. If it's like a repeated thing, because guess what? When you're going to a job, if you were making money at work, they would have had a list of requirements for you. Mm-hmm. So how do I get to just freely just hand over my money and just I don't have to require anything of you to do better with moving forward. And so everyone needs help sometimes. So I get that. But some people, their emergency fund is called Rachael Hanible. And this is not about to be.
Not today, no. Never.
I'm like, what? Your emergency fund called Rachael Hanible, okay? And that's not God's plan for my life. Okay, that's not God's plan for my life. And the only way I can help you is if I help myself. So, those are the things that I really, really want to. When you talk about assets and liabilities, you really got to, especially moving forward, you have to be clear about who is in what category and what that's going to do for you and your ultimate goal for your life and your family.
Right. Yeah, because we on a 1 year anniversary, and if we being transparent, our wedding day was a shit show almost because of that thing. And she's here as my witness. I promise you not. It was rainy, it was nasty, it was all of these different things. Once we separated from family, the skies cleared up. It was a beautiful night. Everything opened up, and it taught me. I speak for myself because she's here. It taught me, it's like, oh, you kind of gotta separate your love and your union from everybody else, because they will put a strain on your relationship emotionally, financially, and all these different ways that you don't even realize because you love them so much.
Right. Like you want them to come along, it's like, no, like come with me, enjoy these experiences with us. But it definitely comes with a lot. And I don't know if you could tell, but I'm completely opposite of Reggie, like the complete opposite. And so I'm still trying to figure things out on my own. I'm still trying to, save that 10% from your check every 2 weeks. Like, let's not have a slip this month. Because, so so when I'm trying to do all of these things for me, it's like, how can you put that pressure on me to have to solve your problems? Girl, I got to do what I got to do for me. Like, so it definitely is a lot of pressure when, especially because it's outside looking in almost, so it's like, oh, it looked like y'all got it together. It looked like y'all making money. You going here, you going there, Reggie speaking here, he doing this. And it's like, it's so much that comes into this, like you don't even know. And to make me feel like I'm obligated to do whatever for you is not fair. It's not fair.
And for people like you, one thing that you both do have in common is that you'll do for others before you do for yourself.
It's a fact. You asked the question earlier, what's our biggest money problem? That's it right now.
Yeah,
That's
right?
it.
So for people like you, I always have to give them a bigger target, a bigger goal, a bigger why outside of themselves, because me telling you to do it for your own peace of mind may not hit as hard as me telling you to do it for your children's peace of mind. Now it's urgent, right? Because as I love to speak on behalf of young people and their children, because I give them a voice that they are not able to express themselves. And a lot of young people, I say our biggest issue with our heroes is that they never love themselves enough to save themselves.
Wow.
And that has been the biggest issue, even with my own parents. No, that has been the biggest issue, even with our own parents, right? Like, we really struggle with my mom being the one that always wants to be the savior for other people. And it's like, we really want you to save yourself. You're such a hero. And all we need for you to do is put all that energy into saving yourself. And so you got to be mindful of how you're teaching your children that what a hero looks like.
Right.
And not saving themselves, saving everyone else. Everyone else is better. Everyone else is worthy. Everyone else's feelings are valid, but my own. And so hopefully that will help you have a different perspective on that moving forward when it comes to your young people that you're raising.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I say this about therapists because this is a mental health platform. When they come on here, I'm like, hey, y'all better get these free gems because they're going to charge for it tomorrow. Y'all literally better get these free gems from Rachel because she's really going to charge for this tomorrow. So I appreciate it. Is there any last words that you have just in regards to relationships, marriage, finances, anything in general you want to leave the people with or leave the couples with?
I think I said this last time, and we'll end it off the same way. You have an option to either stay the same or change. I'm gonna encourage you to change, but you have to pick your heart. It's hard both ways.
Not lying, girl.
On that note, please share any information that Rachel shared in this episode. Share it, clip it up, leave a comment on Apple of what you liked about what she said, and tag somebody something because it's a lot of struggling. Again, the number one cause of divorce and everything like that is financial struggles and financial issues. So please share this with a couple that need to hear this. And last but not least, please remember that this platform has never been about being a replacement to therapy or financial crisis. Please go get someone that's an expert in the space. It is an alternative place where people share therapeutic stories. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, see y'all.